besties, welcome back to my channel. Long time no see. I know, let's just not talk about it. But today I have a very exciting video because I'm thinking of maybe taking a break until January, maybe. So just letting you guys know, but I wanted to, if that happens, I wanted to have this video up for you guys because I know that I'm not gonna read any more books, probably not gonna read any more books this month. Because I have a lot of things going on. So I wanted to do a whole wrap up for you guys and spill the tea on all the books I read in 2022. I'm not gonna lie, and you guys probably know this because I've mentioned this so many times now. It has not been a very good reading year for me at all. Not very fun, but honestly my goal for the year was to read 100 books. That didn't happen. Then I lowered it to 75. That did not happen as well. And then I lowered it to 50. And guess what? Didn't happen as well. So I read 38 books in 2022. Let's talk about the 38 books I read in 2022. So as always, not as always, but as always, I'm gonna start with the first book I read. So let's start with the first book I read this year, which was, round of applause for The Fine Print by Lauren Asher. To be honest, I don't remember when I read these books. So maybe I read this book December of last year, or maybe it was January of this year. So don't know, but my Goodreads says that I read it the first week of January. So this is the first book that I read and I gave it 5 stars. You guys know that I love Lauren Asher and I love her books, but this first book I personally loved. I don't remember every single thing about this book, but because it's been a year, but what I do remember is that I liked it. I liked the couple. I do remember that I didn't really love what the main male character did to the main female character. It was kind of creepy, but you know, romance book, whatever. So yeah, that was the first book that I read. Next one, I'm gonna speed through these because I have a hair appointment in 40 minutes. So let's do this. The next one that I read, which was, I was still in a reading slump, and it was a month after, so February. I read Twisted Hate by Anna Huang, and you guys know that I love Anna Huang. She's one of my favorite authors, and the Twisted series is one of my favorite series ever, and Twisted Hate was chef's kiss. It was so good. It's an enemies to lovers, very enemies to lovers, just FYI. So yeah, but I personally really liked it. I gave it 5 stars. Then I read the second book of the Dreamland Billionaire series by Lauren Asher, which is Terms and Conditions. This was around the time of Twisted Hate, I do remember that. And I rated it 5 stars as well. I love this book. I actually did like this book even more than the first one. So yeah, just throwing that out there. Then I read My Killer Vacation, which actually got me out of a slump. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea. It's a very short, random summer romance book. Very random. It's a spicy summer romance book. I loved it, and it got me out of a slump, and I rated it 5 stars because of that reason, because it got me out of a slump. I was entertained. I love the spice. I love the couple. And it's also a murder mystery, so that's really interesting as well. Okay, next, I had 2 weeks in March that I read like crazy. I don't even know how many books I read, but I read the entire Brutal Birthright series by Sophie Lark, the entire series in a week and a half. And there are 6 books in the series, just to get the context. So the first book is Brutal Prince. I gave it 4.5. The second book is Stolen Air. I gave that 5 stars because it was my favorite. I know it's not everyone's favorite, but it was my favorite. Then I read the third one, Savage Lover. Gave that one 4 stars. Next one, Bloody Heart. Fourth book, 5 stars. So freaking good. It's the only second chance romance, and the spice. Then I read the 5th book, Broken Vow. 5 stars as well. Loved it. It was a lot more cute than the other ones. Then I read the last one, which was Heavy Crown, and I rated it 5 stars. But I rated it 5 stars because of how much shit went down and how important that book is to the next series. But to be honest, like the actual couple, I completely hated. I hated the couple. Like individually, maybe like I loved Sebastian, but I think his name was Sebastian. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think his name was Sebastian. And just the relationship with, I don't even know the main female character of this book, but it was kind of annoying. Did not really like it. And between these books, I actually read first Dating Dr. Dale by Nisha Sharma. I loved this book so freaking much. And I've said this a million times, but this is the definition of a rom-com. It's funny. It's actually funny. It's romantic. It has spice. This is all I want in a rom-com. And I rated it 5 stars, obviously. Then I read Priceless by Miranda Silver. I had never read anything by Miranda Silver, and let me tell you, if you want like a book with absolutely no plot, I mean, it has a plot, but that's not the important thing because the spice is literally overcomes everything in that book. It's pure smut, literally. I rated it 4 stars because the smut was so good, but the story was not that great. So 4 stars for the spice. Next, after I read all of these other books, I read Hook, Line, and Sinker by Tessa Bailey, which I was waiting to read for so long. So I rated that 4.5 out of 5 stars. Love that one. Love that one. Then I remember I read these books when I was in a trip. I was not on vacation, but I was on a trip. I read Gayland by V.E. Schwab. I have said this, V.E. Schwab is not my favorite author. However, this book was interesting, and the only reason I gave it 4 stars is because it was interesting, but the ending was just very blah. I was expecting a lot more, and absolutely nothing happened. I felt like it actually was worse than the beginning, if that makes any sense. So I was entertained the entire time, but the ending was just disappointing for me. The next one was Book Lovers by Emily Henry. This is the first book by Emily Henry that I actually really liked. I rated it 5 stars. When I read the book, I absolutely loved it. Then I read the first book of the Throne of Glass series, which I haven't finished, but I started the Throne of Glass series, and I honestly liked it. I really liked it. I gave it 5 stars. I don't know if I would give it 5 stars now because months have passed, you know, but it was actually really good, in my opinion. And the other books just keep getting better, so yeah. Then I read literally, I think, one of my favorite books of the year. Not I think. It is one of my favorite books of the year, which is Every Summer After by Carly Fortune. This is a summer romance. This is a second chance romance. Childhood best friends to lovers, all that stuff. Pure perfection. So freaking good. Loved it. And then I actually finished 1,000 Boy Kisses by Tilly Cole. I rated it, I think, 4.5. I put it here 4, but I think it was 4.5. Most heartbreaking book I've ever read in my entire life, I'm not gonna lie. It's really freaking sad. Then I read Twisted Lies, which is the 4th book of the Twisted series. It was amazing, and I loved Christian. Completely amazing. I do remember it took me a while because I don't even know what I was doing at the time, but it took me like 3 weeks because I just was not reading at the time, but I picked it up and put it down and picked it up, but not because of the book, because it was a hectic time. But I finished it. It was a 5-star read, and the entire series, it's a 5-star read. I read 100 Other Girls. It's very much like the Bold Type slash, well, yeah, the Bold Type slash the Devil Wears Prada. I feel like it was, now that I think about it, and I actually rewatched the Bold Type like 2 weeks ago, it's actually more of the Devil Wears Prada than the Bold Type, I feel like. Then I actually started the TBR series. If you're new here, I started a series over on my TikTok that I know, you guys, I have to pick it up again. I know. It's gonna come back in January, I promise. But it's basically where I choose like random books from my bookshelves and start reading them. I read Crown of Midnight by Sarah J Maas, which is the second book of the Throne of Glass series. I gave it a 4.8 out of 5 stars. I really, really liked this book, and it was part of the TBR series. I randomly picked it out, which was very cool. Then I read The Nature of Witches by Rachel Griffin. I gave this 4 stars. It was good. I feel like it was good, but what I do remember, it was a little bit repetitive. That was the only thing that I didn't really like. It got a little bit repetitive, but otherwise it was good. Then I read A Touch of Darkness by Scarlett St. Clair, and this was the first book I had ever read by Scarlett St. Clair, and Then I read The Buy-In by Emma St. Clair, and I did like this book. I rated it 4.5 out of 5 stars. It was very good, honestly. It's kind of like a small town romance, also fake dating, or like fake dating out of convenience. Then I read also one of my favorite books of the year. It is How to Be the Best Third Wheel by Lourdes de Villa, and I rated it 5 stars. I always say this about this book, but I wish I had read this book when I was like 15 years old. Like, I'm 21 and I felt like I learned a lot from the book, you know? Then I read Here for the Drama by Kate Bromley. This was overall entertaining. I gave it 4 stars. It was entertaining. It had a little bit of romance. It had a little bit of drama, and it was good. Not my favorite, but it was good. Then I read For Butter or Worse by Erin La Rosa, and I also liked this book. I gave it also 4 stars. Wasn't my favorite, but again, like, it was entertaining. I had fun, and overall, like, Enemies to Lovers, love that. Then I also read one of my favorite books of the year, King of Battle and Blood by Scarlett St. Clair. You guys know this, like, I've raved about this book too many times. But yeah, this one is heavy on the smut, just FYI, heavy on the smut. But it does have a plot, so do not worry. It kind of ends in a cliffhanger, a little bit, because it is the first book. The second one is coming out soon, so yeah, but I absolutely adored this book. It was so freaking good. So, the next book I read was Air of Fire by Sarah J Maas, which is the 3rd book of the Throne of Glass series. I gave this one 4 out of 5 stars. It wasn't my favorite. Like, I enjoyed it, but it was a little bit long, and I got a little bit bored, like, okay, when is this gonna end, you know? But overall, this story was obviously important to the other books. It's the 3rd book. It's important to the other books. So overall, I liked it. Not my favorite from the series. Then I read It Starts With Us by Colleen Hoover. We have all heard about this book by now. I did rate it 5 stars. I actually did a whole reading vlog for this book. It was so good because it's just what it is. It's Lily and Atlas's happy ending. That's it. There's no plot. That's it. Then in the same, I think in the same reading vlog, or I don't remember if I finished this book, but I read King of Wrath by Anna Huang, which is the 1st book in her new series, Kings of Sins. I don't remember if it was 4 or 4.5, but around those numbers. And I personally really liked it. It's a good introduction to the story. I don't think it's gonna be my favorite, but I'm not gonna change my rating because I want to read the other books when they come out, and then if I change my rating, I change it. But yeah. Then I read Fresh by Margaret Wood. This was also part of the TBR series. I rated it 4 stars. It's literally so similar to The Sex Lives of College Girls from HBO Max. I actually was finishing the 2nd season of that show, and it reminded me so much of this book. So if you like that vibe, you need to read this book. Then I read Indigo Ridge by Daphne Perry, which is the 1st book of her series, the Eden series. I rated it 5 stars. It's a murder mystery. Friends with Benefits to Lovers. It was so freaking good. Then I read The Kiss Curse by Erin Sterling. This is the 2nd book that comes after the X-Hex, which I absolutely adored. And I also adored this one. I'm not sure if I liked this one even better than the X-Hex, but I really enjoyed this one. So I always recommend those two books. Then I read The Heir by Sophie Lark, which is the first book of the Kingmaker series, which is the series that comes after the Brutal Birthright series. And it's basically about all of their children, so this one was the first one. And overall, good introduction, really liked it. I gave it 4.5. I think I rated it 4.5 out of 5 stars. And overall, I really liked it. Like, it's a good introduction. Again, I want to read the other books to actually make a good rating. Then I read To Carve a Fey Heart by Sonia Odette, and I gave this one 4.8 out of 5 stars. The reason why I gave it 4.8 is first because it's part of a series. I don't want to rate the first book of a series 5 stars. So I'll maybe change my rating after I read the other ones, but that's one thing. And the second thing is that it ends in a kind of in a cliffhanger that pissed me off a little bit, just because it's a little bit annoying. You know, cliffhangers are annoying. Then I read When Stars Come Out by Scarlett St. Clair. This one, I love Scarlett St. Clair, but this one was just not one of my favorites. Like, I enjoyed the book. I gave it 4 stars. I enjoyed the book, but it was okay. And the last 2 books that I read in 2022, and why I say 2 is because they're part of a series. The first one is You Can Run by Rebecca Zanetti, and I did a whole review for you guys over on my TikTok, but this one I rated 4 stars. I actually, okay, wait. This one, You Can Run, is the first book, and then the second book of the series is You Can Hide, and that one I rated 4.5, I think. And the thing is that I'm so smart, and I read the books in the wrong order. So I literally read the second book and then I read the first one. So yeah, overall the books are very much like murder mysteries, but very hardcore, like FBI kind of shit. Murder mysteries. It was so good. Like, they are so interesting. So yeah, those are all the books that I read in 2022. Okay guys, I know I talked really quickly about all these books, but honestly, I've talked about these books like a lot on my channel. I have like monthly reading wrap-ups where I like go in depth. I actually have also like book recommendations where I go in depth about every single book, and I just can't sit down here and go in depth about 38 books. But yeah, I hope you guys liked the video, and thank you so much for watching, you guys. I love you so much. If I don't post another video in the month of December, well, we're gonna see each other in January of 2023. And I just want to thank you guys for always supporting me, watching my videos, liking, commenting, and I love you guys for sticking with me throughout this year, because it was a very not so it year. But I love you guys for being here. Oh, and Merry Christmas, you guys, and Happy New Year's.